I guess Lizzo is now feeling the backlash of this harassment lawsuit. 3 former dancers have accused Lizzo of harassment and creating a hostile environment. The lawsuit was filed on August the 1st in LA, California, and NBC was first to report on it. So these 3 former dancers allege that Lizzo pressured one of them to touch the breast of one of the dancers at a club. And this happened allegedly when they were in a club in Amsterdam. Lizzo, who is known for positivity when it comes to her body and is known for celebrating her physique, is now being accused by one of the dancers for bringing attention to that dancer's weight gain and later berating, then firing that dancer after she recorded a meeting because of a health condition. The civil lawsuit filed on Tuesday in the Superior Court in Los Angeles, California, claims that Lizzo pressured the dancers to engage in nude performances at a nightclub in Amsterdam. So the plaintiffs are Ariana Davis, Crystal Williams, and Noel Rodriguez. So in the complaint, the charges are listed as sexual, religious, and racial harassment, as well as disability discrimination, assault, and false imprisonment. So the legal complaint seeks unspecified damages and named Melissa Vivian Jefferson, who is also known as Lizzo, as well as her production company, Big Girl Big Touring Inc., as well as Charlene Quigley, captain of the performers dance team. Representatives for Lizzo didn't immediately respond to emails seeking comments on the lawsuit. So this is what we know about the lawsuit so far. The court filing claims that after performing a concert in Amsterdam, Lizzo and her crew attended a sexually themed show at a club in the city's notorious district, the Red Light District, where Lizzo began inviting co-members to take turns touching the nude performers during the show. The filing also states that Lizzo led a chant pressuring Davis to touch the breast of one of the nude women performing at the club. But here's my question about that. You are a grown adult. Could you not say no? That is against my moral values. I'm not going to touch a nude woman. So you want to tell me you went along with it. You touched the nude woman. You had a good time. You drank up. I'm presuming they were drinking. So you drank up. You touched the nude women. And God knows what else you did. And now that you got fired, now you're going to look back and say, I didn't really want to do that. Lizzo made me do it by chanting my name and daring me to do it. Okay, if you like it, I love it. So the complaint goes on to say that Miss Davis was so overwhelmed and so mortified by the chanting that she acquiesced in an attempt to bring an end to the chants. In other words, let's say the chanting was touch it, touch it, touch it. She went ahead and touched it because she wanted the chanting, in her words, to stop. What sense does that make? Listen, I'm not trying to shame the victim. I'm just trying for it to make sense to me. If you went ahead and touched whatever, how can you blame Lizzo at this point? What I see here were willing participants, and now that they got fired, now they want to stick something on Lizzo to get some money out of her. The complaint went on to say that the plaintiffs were aghast with how little regard Lizzo showed for the bodily autonomy of her employees and those around her, especially in the presence of many people whom she employed. That means they all were loose and hanging like if they didn't have a care in the world, partying like if it was 1999, like if the world was coming to an end, And Lizzo, with a few drinks in, I'm assuming, just let loose and was touchy-feeling with everyone and encouraging folks to touch the dancers in the club. And now they're offended. Now, after the fact, they're offended. Why did they not get offended at the time and file this suit at that time? You know, it's like you going to a club with your guy friends or your girlfriends and you all are having a good time. You're drinking it up and doing whatever else, but having a good time. And months after, let's say you employed them, you fired them. Now they're going to come after you for having a good time in that nightclub and put out this narrative that you made them do the things that they did in the nightclub. Where they do that at? Make it make sense to me. Drop your comments in the comments section. I'd like to know what you think about this story. Lizzo is also being accused of body shaming Miss Davis. It is said in the complaint that Lizzo accused Miss Davis of weight gain after accusing the dancer of not being committed to her role. Well, listen, if you hire someone and you tell them, listen, I want you to be at around 150 pounds. If you go over 150 pounds, I'm going to have to let you go and get somebody else. And that person agrees to it and they start gaining weight. You mean to tell me that I can't tell you you're gaining weight? So Davis was fired back in May for recording a meeting during which Lizzo had given out notes to dancers about their performances, according to the complaint. So Quigley, a member of Lizzo's staff, served as a judge on the singer's reality show. And the name of Lizzo's reality show, once again, is Watch Out for the Big Girls. The lawsuit also states that Miss Quigley was pushing her Christian beliefs onto dancers, talking about the Lord. But we know people like that. I think we all know people like that. You go in the workplace and that's all they talk about, God. And you just want to do your work. You just want to dance if you're a dancer. You believe in the Lord, yes. You believe in God, but you don't want it being pounded over your head. You know, some people like to pound the Bible over your head. And you get so sick and tired of it. And then they start believing that you're an atheist when you're not. You're just tired of them talking all the time, period. So the court filing claims that Quigley referred to Davis as a non-believer and told co-workers that no job and no one will stop me from talking about the Lord. So it appears as if the work environment was very strained at best. You're supposed to separate the two. Once you start mixing religion, politics, and pleasure in the work environment, then it's a recipe for disaster. So now, one of the dancers, Miss Davis, is now saying Miss Quigley, who is a judge on the show, and Miss Quigley is God-fearing. I'm sure all of them were up in that club. So Miss Davis, the dancer who was fired, is now saying Miss Quigley beat the word of the Lord over her head and said that no job and no one is going to stop her from believing in the Lord. So what that have to do with a harassment case? I don't know. Make it make sense. So the reason why Miss Quigley is naming the lawsuit, it says that she referred to Davis as a non-believer and that she was pushing her Christian beliefs on the dancers. So drop your comments in the comment section. You coming onto the page, hit the like button, that thumbs up button. And if you have not subscribed as yet, please do so. So earlier this year, Lizzo won the Grammy for Record of the Year for her hit About Damn Time, a global tour supporting her fourth studio album. 2022's special wrapped up last month. So this lawsuit is accusing Lizzo of sexual harassment, of having created a hostile work environment. But part of the lawsuit says false imprisonment, and I'm scratching my head. Because if they're talking about the same venue, this club they were in, correct me if I'm wrong, if they're staying at a hotel, you're at a club with your employer and all your employee friends, you can hail a cab and go back to the hotel. Nobody's keeping you there. So I don't know where this false imprisonment is coming in. Another part of the lawsuit said that she showed no type of restraint when it came to the body of her employees, meaning they were in the club and she was maybe pulling up the skirt or maybe showing a little bit of the cleavage. I don't know what she was doing, but they said she lacked the respect. She should have given more respect. But why did they not stop her? I know if somebody comes up on me and they're pulling on me and want to show my body parts, I would stop them right away. I'd say, oh no, take that somewhere else, because I'm very vocal. I don't know if the employee felt intimidated, as if maybe they did not want to say no to their boss, but that's your body. And as an adult, you do not let anyone do to your body anything you don't want them to do, even if it's showing your cleavage. You do not let anyone belittle you like that or put you in a position where you feel ashamed, or anything they may do to you or request of you to do that you are not ashamed after you have done it. You never let anyone put you in that position. So I don't understand how these grown women can now sue because they allow Lizzo to maybe pass certain boundaries in that nightclub. But I do understand some employers feel empowered that you're the employee and they can do and say anything. I do understand that. And this is why you have to teach your children that they have power over their body. Nobody else have a right to touch you when you don't want to be touched. And so sometimes when you don't teach your children the boundaries that other people should have when it comes to your space, sometimes that takes them into adulthood and people are able to penetrate their space without them saying no. I fully understand that. Well, we're going to see where this lawsuit goes, where it ends up, if there's going to be a settlement. Now, another part of the lawsuit has to do with discrimination against disability. Now, other parts of the lawsuit, I'm not going to make any jokes on because it has to do with disability. And the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Provisions of this Civil Rights Act forbid discrimination on the basis of sex as well as race in hiring, promoting, and firing. And for those people who are disabled, that also covers under this Act of 1964. So the dancers' legal team alleges that the incidents date back to 2021 when Davis and Williams met Lizzo for her reality TV show, Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls. The reality show chronicled the journeys of dancers competing for a chance to join Lizzo's live performances. Rodriguez, one of the plaintiffs, was hired back in May of 2021 as part of the dance team featured in the music video for the hit Rumors. The show went on to win an Emmy in 2022 for Best Outstanding Competition Program. In August of 2021, filming began for the reality show competition, and the contestants spent a lot of time with Lizzo's dance coach, or dance captain, Shirley Quigley. The complaint alleges Quigley found out that Davis practiced abstinence, and during the competition, the dancers were informed they would have to participate in a nude photo shoot. So the document went on to say that Miss Davis, one of the dancers, broke down in tears on the set while struggling to choose between a once-in-a-lifetime career. And I can understand that, because if you are choosing between your career and your morality, then it's a real struggle sometimes. For those who are not strong in their belief, for some people, they can walk away from money while other people cannot. So Ms. Davis was struggling with her decision between a lifetime career opportunity and putting her body on display against her will. That's what was stated in the lawsuit. And this was the type of setting it stated in the lawsuit that Lizzo had her employees under. They would have to choose between their morality and whether or not they wanted a job. Now I can see where a lawsuit is developing, because if you are an employer and you put your employees under such duress, knowing that you have that power over their jobs if they don't do this act, then I can see a lawsuit in that. So Davis and Williams were selected as members of Lizzo's dance team under Quigley's leadership. Guys, don't forget, as you come onto the page, hit the like bell, as well as if you have not subscribed as yet, please do so. So the dance captain Quigley continued to talk about and preaching about Christianity, sexuality, and berating those folks who engage in premarital sex, while at the same time oversharing her thoughts and values when it came to her own personal beliefs when it came to the intimacy with her husband. And I'm telling you guys, some things you just got to keep out of the workplace. Even if it's your friend, you got a friend working on your job where you are, try not to talk about sex with them, because that's not something you really should talk about in the workplace. And sometimes the boundaries and the lines are skewed because you've got a friend who you think you can talk anything with, or employees that you think you're cool with, but guess what? When you're ready to fire them, all these things come back to haunt you. So certain things you try to keep out of the workplace, you keep it professional. What are the 3 things you shouldn't talk about in the workplace? Sex, religion, and politics. Keep that out of the workplace and you'll be happy on your job. So while on tour, Rodriguez was reportedly singled out as a non-believer. Now, what does that have to do with her performing? Religion should not have even been in the equation. Whether she was a believer or non-believer, she should not have even had that conversation with her dancing instructor. But they had that conversation, and so when the U.S. portion of Lizzo's tour wrapped up in November of 2022, the dancers began seeking other employment opportunities in between the European tour dates scheduled to start February of 2023. So Lizzo and her production company reportedly told the dancers that they preferred that the dancers would not take on any projects during their downtime. That means they had them 100% at their beck and call. They could not take any projects in between their tour. If they had maybe a 3-month rest period that they weren't performing, they could not take on any projects. And so they were stifling their opportunity and their ability to make extra money on the side. So in the documents, it's also reported that the plaintiffs were reportedly offered 25% of their weekly rate, as opposed to the 50% other dancers would make during that time period. And it was explained that they were getting a lesser rate because of their disrespectful and unacceptable behavior while on the tour. However, the dancers say specifics were not provided. The lawsuit then details an alleged incident from February 23, 2023 in Amsterdam. That night, the dancers were invited to the red light district. It was not required for the plaintiffs to go to the club. However, they went in fear of losing their jobs. So it was reported that the night then took a turn when the crew who went to the nightclub that is called the Banana M Bar, which had nude performers. Lizzo is accused of pressuring Davis to touch one of the nude performers' bosoms. I don't know, Lizzo, it's not looking too good for you, because this is encroaching on a person's bodily parts, private parts. And this person, namely the employee, was in fear of losing her job, so she went along with the program, although she didn't want to go along with it. Oh, wait a minute, folks, it gets worse. So that night, Liz also reportedly pressured cast members to take turns touching the nude performers and catching the D word, the artificial name for a man's private part. From performers' vajayjays and eating bananas protruding from the performer's vajayjay, the lawsuit stated. This sounds to me like if Lizzo was putting on a show herself with all this suggestive behavior. A similar incident then happened a week later in Paris when they went to a nude cabaret bar. So Lizzo, do you have a problem? Sounds like if you have some type of fetish problem or sexual problem that you got to go frequenting all these nude bars and doing all these suggestive acts. Maybe you need to sit and talk to somebody, girl. Maybe you got a problem you need to iron out. Do you have a man? That's what I want to know. Because, it sounds like if she's got anybody in her life that she got to be doing all this, she's doing too much in these bars that she's frequenting. So that part was a sexual lawsuit. Now this part is the racial discrimination part of the lawsuit. The lawsuit claims that BT management treated the black members of the dance team differently than other members, and that BT's management team consisted entirely of white Europeans who often accused the black members of the dance team of being lazy, unprofessional, and having a bad attitude. The lawsuit continues to say, not only do these words ring familiarity as troops use to disparage and discourage black women from advocating for themselves, but the same accusations were not levied against dancers who were not black. So eventually, Davis and Williams were fired while Rodriguez resigned. Davis had apparently gained weight and seemed less vivacious than she did prior to starting the tour. So Williams was fired for budget cuts and Davis was fired for recording a meeting between the dance team and Lizzo, according to court documents. And subsequently, Rodriguez quit because of how Davis and Williams were treated. Oscar-nominated director and filmmaker Sophia Nali Allison is also speaking out about her negative experience with Lizzo amidst an ongoing lawsuit against the singer by some of her former backup dancers. Miss Nally said she was disrespected by Lizzo and she witnessed how arrogant, self-centered, and unkind she is. She also said she was thrown into a situation with little support and her spirit told her to run as fast as she can, and she is so grateful that she trusted her instincts. So guys, drop your comments, hit the like bell, the thumbs up bell, subscribe if you haven't done so as yet. I will see you all on the next video. Thank you for watching.